Hi, we're going on with Chapter 8 here. This is 8C, categorical logic still, but we're going to be sizing up categorical syllogisms. Now we know from propositional logic and earlier in Chapter 3 that a syllogism is just the Greek term for an argument of 3 lines, 2 premises and a conclusion. Okay, we can put them in a particular order so that they are easier to see the structure. We can use the standard forms. We have to use the standard forms. And then we can plot them on 3 bubbles. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So when we're talking about syllogisms, there's a whole set of vocabulary, of course. And really, what it ends up being is something like this. The major premise, okay, is called that because it has what they call the major term. Okay, it's the predicate term in the conclusion. So unlike your marking up arguments for propositional logic for the truth tables, we start with the first thing we see. Here we have to go and find the conclusion. Now, in the beginning here, Dr. Vaughn makes it easy for us, and he just gives it in the right order. Later on, he may flip things around for us because we see them like this in real life all the time, and you have to kind of translate also what order that particular argument comes in. Okay, so the major premise has the major term. It's the predicate term from the conclusion. Okay. The minor premise, and it's not that it's less important, okay? Aristotle likes dichotomy. What do I say? The minor premise has a minor term, which is the subject term in the conclusion. Okay. Now, much like our hypothetical syllogisms, these categorical syllogisms have a third term, a middle term that kind of sticks everybody together, and that's here, and we labeled it M. So again, it has meaning for us. Okay, so traditionally, our syllogism breaks down this way as far as what our terms are, what our variables are, and so this is the one that we're looking at. It's in the book as well. I think it is page 284-ish. About 284. So this piece here, we're going to translate. Okay, that's the first thing we have to do. So we have all dictators are warmongers. Okay, that's the first place I'm going to go. And I'm going to say, I'm going to put these in order. Sorry, I got to get my colors out. That and my hands are too sore for that today. Okay, so my minor term, my S, is the first term in my conclusion. The so gives it away. And then, just like we did with our P's and Q's and R's, we go through the rest of it and mark that as well. Okay, so that's an S. The thing with a categorical syllogism is it has 3 terms, 3 lines, 3 terms, each used twice. Okay, never in the same term, because then you get all kinds of mess. Okay, so my major term then will be here. That's the P is warmongers. I don't like that word because I can't say it without thinking about it. Okay, so I labeled those, and then I just have my middle term left. Okay, so I've done my translating already, right? All M are P, all S are M, so all S are P. Okay, that's my argument. Now, how do I get there? How do I find out whether this is going to work structurally? Well, here's kind of the weird part about that. Okay, so we're going to draw our 3 circles. And you want to make sure you've got this kind of Triskel thing going here in the middle and that you have a spot there where it's all 3. Okay. The rest of the bubbles are, bobble a little bit, but that middle part you have to have so they all fit. Okay, so this is my M, this is my S, this is my P, all the time. Okay, the reason, and one of the reasons why we put the M up there instead of somewhere else is that when we get to the end, that S and P at the bottom are going to be very important. Okay, for figuring out our validity. Okay, so if I'm going to look at these, and I'm going to do these in colors. Okay, so what we do to check validity is we only plot the premises. And then we look at what's there in the S and P and say, can we say all SRP? Can we say the conclusion by what's already there? Okay, so we only ever plot the premises. That should be an S. I'm not sure that's an S, but it's supposed to be. Okay, so all M are P. Well, it's kind of weird. What you have to think about, and you can do this with your paper much easier than I can do with the board, you have to think about just these two bubbles and forget about the other one, okay? So all M are P, that's an A statement, so it should look like this, but with the M and the P. So all of my M wants to be in here in this eyeball section. So I have to color in and ignore that other little piece over there because right now we're not talking about S. It's not his turn. Okay, so that's that. And then my second one, my second premise, I'm going to color like that. So all S are M. All of my S people want to just stay S. Oh no, all of them are M. Okay, I have to think about this. Okay, all of them are M. So I'm looking at all SRP, okay, but I'm looking at it this way, all S are M. So I'm going to color in all the S, okay. Now, that's it. That's all I'm going to color in. Now, I often draw myself a little key, so my ending should look like that. Now, does my conclusion look exactly like that? Well, no. But can I say from this drawing that all of my S's are P's? And the answer is yes, because all of my S's are in that little spot right there, right? Yes, okay. So I'm looking here, this is all colored in, but I have all my S's right here. So I could say, yes, this is valid. Let me make sure I said that correct. Okay. I'm in the wrong spot. Now, when you're doing these in your homework, when you're doing these on a test, you want to do all the steps, okay? If I give you an argument like this, you need to mark it up. You need to translate it into standard, okay? And you need to draw correctly, and you need to tell me that it's valid or invalid, okay? So make sure you're doing all the steps so you get all your points. Now, there are a couple of other possibilities here. A couple other things you need to know. So if I have this other one, okay, so my second guy here, all robots are drudges. Sorry. Some professors are robots. So, some professors are drudges. We kind of do need those things. Okay, so there's my thing, and I'm just gonna go with this. I should have done it in color. Okay, so robots, oops, sorry, don't start. Da, 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 da. I'm starting here, okay? My professors are my subject term, right? Some professors are judges. We start here with the conclusion. This is my S. It's my minor term. Drudges is my P, so major term. And then robots will be my M, because they only happen in the premises, okay? The one term that's not in the conclusion has to be your middle term, okay, if you're having trouble identifying that. So, now I can do this. I have all M are P, some S are M, so some S are P. Now, when we draw, it's okay. Okay, your initial drawing should always look like that. Probably better than that, but you know, close. And then if you have a universal, you want to label that first, mark that on the graph first in your premises, okay? Because we can't put an X in a shaded area because there's nobody there. Can't contradict yourself. Remember that internal consistency thing. So I'm looking at all M are P. Okay, so I'm just going to look at MP. These two here, and forget that S is there at all. So all M are P. I'm going to color in the section of M that's not touching P, and all of my M's are in that little eyeball section now. Okay? Normal, normal. Now, some S are M. That's this color. So some S are M is my I statement. So there's an X in this middle section. Okay, so I have all of this section here to work with, except that I can't put my X where there's already a blank space, right? There's nobody there. So I have to put my X in here. Okay? Can't make things differently. Okay, so when I get to the bottom, and I want to see some SRP, I have to have an X in the middle. Well, do I have an X in the eyeball section? Yes. Okay, so this is valid. Please, please, please make sure that you're following the directions for these. So if you have an all or a no as one of your premises, whether it's the major one or the minor one, mark that on your graph first and then do your particulars. Okay, so keep that in mind as you go along. That's not a horrible. Now, there are all kinds of fun places to look at with that. Remember that it's impossible for a valid argument to have all true premises and a false conclusion. We are saying these are our givens. What about this? Okay, these are true. What about this? Okay, and if we can say some SRP, if we can say the conclusion based on what we plotted with the premises only, then it's a valid argument. Okay, if we can't, or if we're not sure, and he goes into some details on that in the book, if you're not sure, it's invalid. Okay, it might be possible for these guys to be true and that not to be true. Well, then it's invalid. Okay, so keep the same rules that way for validity as we had with the truth tables, but a little bit different way of getting there. I want to give you one more piece here, and I don't know that he has. Okay, so if we have, and he does give us this, if you look at the very bottom of 287, well, the top of that has the 5 steps to checking validity with Venn diagrams, walks you through all the 5 steps. Then he's giving us one here that is questionable, okay? All barbers are singers. Some Italians are singers. Therefore, some Italians are barbers, okay? So again, we're going to mark that, set that up, and this time we have 2 places where that X could go at the end. And so in order to place it correctly, we put it on the line between the 2 spots, saying that we don't have enough information to tell you where exactly this person might be. So it's invalid, okay? Because it could be invalid, we have to say yes, okay? That's the possibility of things. So make sure, I would highly encourage you to have all 3 of those particular examples in your notes, so you have, okay, this is what I do when this happens, this is what I do when this happens, okay? It's not so bad. Make sure that you get your whole page for the reading log. Let me know if you have questions. You know how to get me.